Welcome. Today, we're diving into a short, but honestly incredibly powerful passage from Matthew 18. It's all about sin, mercy, and something really crucial, the immense value of every single person. Okay, let's jump right in. We're starting at verse 7, and right off the bat, Jesus gives this really stark warning. It sets a super serious tone for everything that's about to follow. So you might be wondering, what exactly are these offenses? Well, the original Greek word is skandalon, which literally means a stumbling block or even a trap. Think of it as anything that causes someone to trip up and fall into sin. And what's interesting is Jesus says, yeah, these things are going to happen. It's just part of our world. But, and this is a big but, he makes it crystal clear that there are some really severe consequences for the person who actually causes the offense. And from there, the focus kind of pivots. It moves from this warning about causing other people to stumble to a pretty radical solution for how we deal with the sources of sin in our own lives. This is where it gets intense. In verses 8 and 9, Jesus uses this, it's shocking, almost visceral imagery to really hammer the point home. He's showing us just how extreme and radical we need to be when it comes to dealing with the things that pull us away from God. Now, obviously, we have to get the intent here, right? This isn't a literal command to, self-mutilate. It's what we call hyperbole. It's exaggerated language used to make a powerful point. The idea is to be absolutely ruthless, to metaphorically cut off anything that leads us to sin, because in the end, eternal life is worth any sacrifice. All this intensity really leads to a big question, doesn't it? Why is the warning so severe? And the answer is what pivots this whole passage. It shifts us from just a warning against sin to the really profound reason why that warning is so important. And it all comes down to this: protecting the vulnerable. Jesus calls them these little ones. And we should be clear, this isn't just about kids. It's also talking about people who are humble, defenseless, or easily influenced. So why are they so precious? Verse 10 gives us the answer, and it's pretty amazing. It says, "Their angels always behold the face of my Father." Just think about that for a second. These people, who might seem insignificant to the world, have this direct, constant connection to the very throne of heaven. That's why despising one of them or causing them to stumble, well, it's an incredibly big deal. And this all flows right into the heart of the matter in verse 11. You see, all these really stern warnings, they're actually framed within a mission of mercy. The ultimate point isn't just about punishment. It's about, as it says, saving that which was lost. It's all about restoration. And to make this idea really clear, Jesus tells a simple but beautiful and profound story. You probably know it. It's the parable of the lost sheep, which we find in verses 12 through 14. So, picture this. You've got a shepherd with 100 sheep. But then, just one of them wanders off. Suddenly, the shepherd's entire focus shifts. It's not about the 99 who are safe anymore. It's all about that one who's gone missing, the one who's in trouble. And notice what the shepherd does. He doesn't just shrug and write it off as a loss, right? He doesn't just sit back and wait for it to wander home. No, verse 12 says he actively goes out to search for it. And this tells us so much about God's character. It's not passive. It's the character of a determined, relentless seeker. And then check out the result in verse 13. When he finds that one sheep, he rejoiceth more over it than the 99 that never left. The parable is highlighting this incredibly deep, specific joy that comes from restoring the one that was lost. The rescue itself is a reason for a bigger celebration. This all builds to the final, ultimate takeaway in verse 14, which just perfectly summarizes the whole point. It says, "It is not the will of your Father that one of these little ones should perish." That really reveals the heart of God, doesn't it? It's all about the salvation and the infinite value of every single person. Not one is expendable. Not one. So let's just step back and look at the journey this passage takes us on. It starts with this really sober warning about how serious sin is and how we impact other people. But it doesn't stay there. It ends in this place of just profound wonder at God's relentless personal love for every single individual soul. And that really leaves us with a final question to think about, doesn't it? The source material makes a great point that we are all little ones at times. So if every single soul is this precious to God, how can we better reflect that shepherd's heart in our own lives? How can we be more intentional about protecting the vulnerable and actively looking for that one who is lost?